Welcome to We're Talking Bears, where uncle and nephew bring you the latest in the Bears experience. I'm Uncle.
And I'm Nephew, and we're talking Bears.
Today we got Brad Jr. with us. What's up, man?
Yo, from the sunny state of California. Chicago's always in my heart, though.
It's only right. It's only right. And you make sure while you're out there to let those all the teams that are surrounding you and the fake fans that come from all across the world to pretend that they actually like the teams that are out there with you. Before we get into this, I remember when you first got out to California, and we were there, and I was out there with you for the start of the season, and Bears opened up the season against the Packers. Where did all those doggone Packers fans come from? Please explain. You live in California. Explain it to me. Please help me understand
the trees.
How Packers fans from little Green Bay. I don't even know anyone from Green Bay. I don't know anyone from Green Bay. How do they get Packers fans in California?
Because people ride bandwagons, man. That's cool.
Well,
we don't do no bandwagons around here. We only monsters of the Midway.
It's only right.
Monsters of the Midway.
Out there. I remember what the name of that bar was. I'm not going to say it. I remember we need to go back there. Yes.
Actually, that bar closed. The bar's gone. They're no longer a Packers bar. The Lord has done his work and shut them down.
There we go.
Absolutely.
Hey, let's dive into it. So, man, it's been a long time. Season 3 is the season that died. Welcome to season 4. Game 1. San Francisco 49ers. Everybody gave us not a chance, but we three believed. Everybody gave us not a chance, but it didn't matter because guess what? We took care of business.
We took care of business. And you know what? The best thing about that's going to be our culture for the season. I think that's the attitude we need to have. Our team needs to have going in. Nobody expects us to do anything. The pressure's off. Go out there. We got young guys trying to make a name for themselves. And to be honest with you, the way things look to me, I think we'll continue to get better. I don't these are the first snaps of the season. Of course, they play some preseason, but they're going against second stringers, third stringers. Now they're going against the starting talent against these other teams, and they're making adjustments. We came out kind of slow to start the game off, but I'm seeing some really promising things coming from us, man. I'm loving what I'm seeing.
I'm loving it too. I have to admit that at the beginning, it reminded me of the Nagy offense. I mean, we spent a half and we couldn't do anything. And right. Fields was under duress. Even though, we only gave up 2 sacks, he was under duress. He was under serious pressure. They were run blitzing Montgomery. He couldn't get out of the backfield. And, this is a tough defense because usually Demo, if he gets getting hit in backfield is not a big deal for him, right? They were sending 8 and 9 to stop him, to make sure he did not get ahead of steam and get going, because they knew he was our number 1 offensive weapon. And you know what? It was a good plan. It almost worked. In the Nagy era, it would have worked. We would have collapsed. We would have become undisciplined. And worst of all, we wouldn't have played chess. We wouldn't have used their strategy against them.
Right.
But in that second half, you know what? What I love, we didn't have to do a lot, but we had to score.
Right.
And all we needed was a few big plays, and that's what we got. And we got them because, when we faked the ball to Demo, their whole defense came.
Right.
I mean, their whole defense came. And if you think about the second touchdown when Fields turned and faked the pitch, it wasn't even a great pitch fake. I mean, it wasn't even a good sell. He faked the pitch. Demo wasn't a good sell. It was just barely okay sell. But the entire defense went with the fake. Right. He turned around and EQ St. Brown, who normally is blocking, who had 1 catch all day, that touchdown, he's streaking for the end zone on a corner post.
Right.
And that's it. And we go up. That's all we needed was the two 2 touchdowns. I said 2 kicks. We'll come to that later.
Right. And you know what? You're absolutely right. But with that, and I was saying the same thing, feeling the Nagy spirit in the room. But what I can say is, all I kept saying, we're running them. They know Demo is our number one option. We know he's our number one option. Fine. But there are times in the game when you run, and you see nothing's working. Take a shot. You'll catch them off guard because they're not expecting you to use your weapons like that, and they don't know when it's coming. So I feel like after you run so many times, Demo's not going anywhere, but they know this is our guy. We just got to catch him off guard. And I feel like if we just give ourselves some opportunities, the defense played well. So the fact that we were slow on offense in the beginning, it didn't hurt us. The defense wasn't giving up anything. So that was good. On Demo, though, I do have to say this. Khalil Herbert ran the ball pretty well. 5 yards a clip running the football. And something that I noticed, Demo keeps leaving his feet in the backfield. Gets the ball, jump cut. Let the play develop. Go to the play side, wait for some of those holes to open up. Khalil Herbert picked up 5 yards of carry on similar run plays, the same offense, the same line, the same runs. You get what I'm saying? But to me, he allowed the plays to develop. He goes to the play side and he lets those guys get out there and block for him. The O-line actually looked great, as our California brethren let us know that the offense is the O-line, which was the bane of our existence the last couple of seasons, actually played well. And I feel like, of course, there's going to be some growing pains, and Demo is our number one option, and they'll gel as the season goes on. But I think that I noticed that from Demo, leaving his feet. By the time you hit the ground, those defensive guys have filled their gaps again. Now that gap that was there for you, if you would have went to the play side, it's not there anymore. You don't have those options for the cutback. But aside from that, I think we did well. I think I think like I said, it's growing pains. We just have to allow the game to develop. And like you said, we got the W, man. The defense, as usual, this is Chicago. If the defense can keep us in games, we have talented guys. Justin Fields is talented. We have weapons. You get what I'm saying? So once we're able to get the pieces gelling together, I think we're going to be dangerous.
I think so too. I'm not worried about Demo. I really think that it was a lot of factor of them scheming, and the phoneticness they attacked when he got the ball. I don't think they attacked as much when Herbert was back there, and that was kind of allowed Herbert to get a hole. I believe their attitude was Demo's not coming out of the backfield,
right?
Because he's not going to carry our guys.
Right.
And that's smart. You know what? That's smart football. But I think what was even smarter football, though, was the patience. I love the patience by Luke Getsy, sitting, waiting, almost suckering them to after the second half before he made his changes and made his adjustments. Because once I make my adjustments in the second half, you don't get another 30-minute break to figure out what I just did to you.
Right.
And I really think that's what happened. I think he's sitting there and he could have made his adjustments earlier, but playing chess instead of checkers. He's like, man, why would I want to show that?
Right.
I'm not going to show that. Let you come on out the locker room thinking I got these guys.
Right.
And go ahead and send 9
right.
when I get the ball to Demo. But let's be honest, that first touchdown, Justin Fields, the ball was hiked on the 49. Fields ran back past our own 30, came back up into the high 40s and threw the ball across the field. He ran 40 yards, 50 yards in the backfield.
I don't think it was quite that much, but it was
definitely
a lot. And I think what people don't realize about that play is how difficult that escape was. He had a 49ers defensive end coming around Larry Borum on the right side. He had a defensive tackle coming around Braxton Jones on the left, and they were pincering him in the backfield. And he just disappeared, did some Houdini stuff, and then popped up 10 yards in the clear, and both of them were laying on the ground. It was like absolute incredible play from Justin Fields just to escape that sack. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 guys in the league that can even pull that off.
Yeah,
So,
and I don't know if all of them have the patience and wisdom once they pull that off to slow down, take a deep breath. You're now wide open, and so is someone else. See your receiver wide open on the other side of the field, and instead of doing what our dear old friend Sexy Rexy would have done, Rex Grossman, fire the ball with all his might because yay! And you know, we know how those plays went. Musa Muhammad would come back to the huddle angry. It's like I'm wide open, wide, you know. He slowed down and he just softly, gently lobbed it over to him. And Pettis intelligently just tucks and catches it with his arms and his body. Because, you know, if they make the connection, it's 6 points. Right. And, you know, he makes sure it's an easy throw to get under. And Pettis makes sure he secures the ball before he looks and runs. And, you know, but that's the team we are now. I look and I know we have less than 5 penalties, including the preseason. I mean, we aren't getting penalties. That's a sign of a disciplined team. And we didn't fall apart.
Yeah, we used to get killed on penalties.
Oh my God!
Silly penalties.
We lose 100 yards in penalties.
Yeah,
that's 100 yards you got to reproduce with your offense. Right. And if your offense is struggling and you go backwards 100. Now you got to go forwards 400 to have a decent day. You know, just it's but it's disciplined, and they really have. These guys are just and you know, I remember the sentence from. You remember the Giants, and if you remember the Giants and the sentence from the Giants that I forgot their coach, Tom Coughlin, disciplined men win championships. That was his quote. And, you know, if you remember, that was when the players union was going to sue the Giants because Coughlin was locking the door to a meeting 19 minutes before the meeting started because he expected everyone there 20 minutes early. And, you know, that was the year that the Giants snuck into the playoffs as the lowest seed in the entire NFL and took out the 18-0 Patriots and just proved what a disciplined team can do. We've got talent and we're disciplined. That makes us very, very dangerous. You know, speaking of the talent, we haven't had a conversation about what our new African-American Christian wonderful GM has done. Mr. Ryan Poles. And, you know, I mean, this has been one heck of an off season. We've had, I think, 32 new faces on the roster now versus last year. And honestly, he hasn't spent a lot of money. He really hasn't spent a lot of money. As a matter of fact, he saved a lot of money. So we are next year we're going to be in phenomenal financial position. We'll have more than 100 million in cap space, and we keep adding talent, and we still are going to have 100 million in cap space. Brad, why don't you give us an overview of you know, what Poles did to get us where we are today?
Yeah, no, he's been really frugal, really thrifty on the free agent wire. He's been phenomenal on the waiver wire. And he's offloaded a ton of large contracts that we had that we really thought we were going to be carrying for a little while, like Khalil Mack and such. So I think the biggest thing is that he didn't overspend in free agency. We had something like 20 million in cap space at the start of this free agency, if I recall correctly. So it wasn't like we didn't have any money to spend, but the signings that we did start picking up, everybody was like, oh, Christian Kirk and, you know, Devontae Adams, trade for him, and DK Metcalf and everything, you know. And he didn't bite on none of that. And everybody was like, oh, he's not doing anything to help. He's not doing anything to help. And then we saw how the draft played out. We picked 11 rookies, which is an enormous draft class, just a huge infusion of youth and depth. Yeah.
Let me interrupt you on that and realize we started with 4 picks
Was it
We
4?
started with 4 picks before we traded Mac.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
And
we got a couple from Mac.
11 rookies.
Yeah, so that's
and the rookies are making a difference.
the late round rookies. You've got the 5th round Dominique Robinson, a sack and a half, just one-on-one beat Mike McGlinchey and Trent Williams in the same game off the defensive end, a dude who's basically never played defensive end for more than 2 seasons, I want to say. And then you've got Braxton Jones, who's starting at left tackle, protecting Fields' blind side. You've got Ebner returning
to
kicks.
Stop Nick Bosa.
yeah, so like that's a huge contribution from your rookie class already, just in week 1. Brisker, Kyler Gordon, both holding it down. That defense surrendering only 10 points. So huge contribution there. And then on the waiver wire, just
don't forget our punter. Don't forget our punter.
Oh yeah, Trenton Gill, the punter. So we've had tons of contributions from the rookies, which obviously that's inexpensive, especially considering that most of them were late round, getting paid very, very small, pennies compared to what most of these teams are starting with. And then on the waiver wire and free agency, I always heard Bill Belichick, he would always say that the teams that were loudest in free agency were doing it wrong, essentially. Like that was kind of his overarching philosophy, right? So you watch the Patriots don't pick up splash free agents. You watch, some of these top teams, the Chiefs, they're not adding big pieces in free agency. Who's doing that? Like the Redskins, the Jaguars, like do you really want to be emulating them?
Miami.
Well, Miami this year has built up a little bit of something, but they've done it through the draft. And Poles committed to building our team through the draft, and he's followed through. And then the waiver wire, he's found some really great gems on the waiver wire. Alex Leatherwood, a 1st round pick just 1 year ago. And we see the work that this team and these coaches have done with Tevin Jenkins and Larry Borum, having our offensive line graded as one of the top offensive lines in the league as a unit after just 1 week of this. So imagine when they have some reps, when they have some experience, when they're able to gel and really know each other a season down the line, even that's huge. And
let me jump in. And one of the guys that that everybody seems to hate, but I seem to enjoy, Sam Mustipher. He played center the whole game. Everybody's down on Musty, but I will say this. When he first came out on that Bears team and the line was horrible and we were getting murdered, and they pulled him off the practice squad and ended up starting him a short time later, the line improved. And I'm going to say, there's something about that guy. He is not the most talented guy in the league. We know that. But there's something about that guy. Fields didn't get sacked up the middle.
He gets it. Right. He gets it. He understands what he's supposed to be doing.
The sack didn't come from the middle. He may not be the greatest, but I think they were right to keep him. And hey, he got his job done. 0 sacks against the 49ers front 4. What are you going to say? And they blitz, 0 sacks even with the blitzes. He's not getting fooled on the blitzes. Right. He's a 300-pound man. He's going to be in your way. He's going to slow you down.
Right.
Yeah, we just need to see some consistency from that O-line, some reps get to played out. Like Soz was saying, just keep drilling and keep getting them game speed reps and let these young guys get some experience and start to build up. And we're gonna see some things from them.
One of the things I really want to see, and I think that it's going to come, I don't know what game, but there's going to come a game where Tevin Jenkins is going to be so much better than the guy in front of him that he's going to be planting that guy 10 yards back, and Demo is going to go crazy along with Khalil Herbert, where it's going to be stupid for us to pass. We're picking up so many yards on the ground. It's coming. It's coming. It wasn't the 49ers. They don't play that. But it's going to happen because Jenkins is a bull. And I think the way that they grew him up as a young man, and they grew him up through adversity. I mean, he went from being, hey, you're the star to, man, I don't know if you're going to make this team. And you're definitely not our tackle. So let's see. But then when they gave him that opportunity for right guard, man, he stepped up and he's playing like a man possessed. And that's what you need. You want your 320-pound bull to play like a man possessed if you're going to win some football games. So I really like what Eberflus has done. And Poles, just saying, hey, nobody gets a free ride. Earn your job. And you don't get the job because I drafted you. You don't get the job because I grabbed you out of free agency, because Borum and Jenkins, if you just were going to do it on, they brought in free agents to replace them, and they won their jobs. So the bottom line with this group is best player plays. And that sets a tone for the whole year. Best player plays. Look over your shoulder. Are you the best player? If not, you're not going to play.
You better do some work. You better get there.
Get the work in. And I think even with Leatherwood, great pickup, phenomenal pickup. That's awesome. They're giving him a month to get his act together so he can get some field time. I really believe, like Jenkins, they're like, okay, we need to work on you, your body, and what you're doing. So he's got a month off, basically, for what did they say? He had a mono or something like that.
Yeah, mono.
But I'm not saying that he doesn't have mono, but I'm sure, they're using this month to fix his head.
Yeah. And
just like with Jenkins, whatever little thing he had, they're like, okay, look, we're going to get your head straight.
Yeah, and Poles, when he came in, I really expected him to fix the O-line. He was an offensive lineman himself, so I know he sees stuff on tape. I know he understands what that's like to be in the trenches, to have to eat right, to be in the weight room the right way, to be taking care of your body the correct way, in order to be successful at this level. I understand that's something that he's going to be laser focused on. When you look at the acquisitions that he has directed the Chiefs to making in the past, he's been on point with his scouting of the offensive line, especially in the later rounds, as Braxton Jones is proving right now. So it's good to see the fruit of that faith starting to bear out, and it's good to see that the Bears management isn't interfering with the front office's ability to do their job.
I love all of that. And the fact that, even though you go back to, and I've got to give the Bears management all the credit in the world in this situation. They even, I think it was McCaskey that met Poles at the airport instead of sending a car. Just that level of respect, and I'm going to say it this way. I'm going to call it.
Here's no joke. So
hear what I'm saying. It's kind of a black thing, because I've talked to some of my white friends and they're like, well, why didn't he send a limo? And I was like, no, as a brother, when the owner comes to pick you up, you're like, it feels different. It feels like, oh, I'm special, and that's, and I think that was huge. And then we got him, and everybody, a lot of guys wanted, a lot of teams wanted him.
Minnesota almost got him.
Yeah, we got him, and I think we got the best manager that was out there. And I think he's proven that, because honestly, even I was doubting what he was doing with the offensive line. I just said, well, I guess he didn't address it. It kind of felt that way. But then he was still picking up offensive linemen all the way until the beginning of week 1. And then we get out there, and he's obviously communicating with Eberflus, and Flus is telling him, hey, I can work with this guy. I can bring more out of this guy. You bring me this guy, we're good.
Right.
Because I didn't think our offensive line, I'm not saying we're perfect, but dang, we faced a great front four and we played a heck of a game. I said it before the game started. I said, I would accept 3 sacks against these guys and consider it not bad. 2, 1, or 0 is really good. Right. And it was 2. It was 2. And you know what? If you can only sack our quarterback twice a game, you're going to have some problems.
Yeah.
You're going to have some problems. And the run game will come. The run game will come. It'll come, especially as we begin to hit our receivers more downfield. You can't send, if you go ahead, and Justin is starting to see it. If you're dumb enough to send your safeties up, Okay.
Right.
Because we've got speed. He's got speed, and every receiver has got decent speed, and a few of them are lightning fast. You know, Pringle and Mooney can rock.
Yeah.
And
Velus Jones, man, we didn't even see him out there. He's
right. Yeah, he's not out
this
there
week.
yet.
So that dude runs a 4.28 or something like that. 4.28, 4.31.
I thought it was a 4.31. 4.31.
I think it was a 4.31, but he said after the combine that he could have ran a 4.28, and he has before, but you'll see in the combine video, like the one that's straight on, you see he runs like all the way to the side of the track and then comes back to the middle, and he's like, there's that 0.03 seconds right there.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, he's
going sideways instead of forward.
He is lightning fast, and yeah, we're going to find out, and other teams are going to find out how fast he is. And you know, when you have speed and power, because we got powerful running backs, you got speed on the edge and power up the middle. You know, good luck. Right. And then honestly, our defense, you know, I don't expect them to be as great as they were week one all year. People are going to look at us and figure out weaknesses, but I don't see this as a defense that gives up more than 20 points any game.
No, we got Aaron Rodgers coming up.
Yeah, and that's going to be the sentence right there. Like, can we go out and we don't have to duplicate what Minnesota did, but hold Rodgers to 2 touchdowns. Hold him to 14 or 17.
I mean, hold him to no touchdowns if you can.
Yeah, I mean, I love 0. Okay. I'm just saying, just kind of the same thing with the 3 sacks is reasonable. If he gets 2 touchdowns and a field goal, this game is going to come down to the last play.
Right.
And I think it's a completely even game. I think our defense is better than their defense. I think our offensive line, strangely enough, is better than their offensive line right now. With Bakhtiari out, our offensive line is better than theirs. They probably have a minor edge, itsy bitsy edge in the receiver room, maybe. Maybe itsy bitsy, maybe.
Did you see all those drops?
Right.
I agree. They're not disciplined. I didn't say they were disciplined, but I mean, if Lazard comes back, that gives that balances that.
Lazard has had like a maximum of like 40 catches in a season. I'm not scared of him.
I'm not scared.
I think Mooney is better than every receiver on their entire roster.
Yeah, but we got a lot of guys that have to reprove themselves. So which is fine. Which is fine. I mean, EQ just made it. You realize EQ got a touchdown and his brother got a touchdown within a minute of each other.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That is. But
their family's happy.
Yeah, but then when you look, then running backs, I like our running backs over their running backs, although their running backs are great. They got some good running backs. I like our running backs over their running backs. We got to pay attention to those guys.
I think our guys are more versatile, maybe, but in terms of just straight ability, they might have us faded there. Aaron Jones is dangerous, passing, running.
He is. He's dangerous.
He's a home run threat.
I would take our guys over their guys. But our special teams, obviously something happened. They changed the grass on Cairo. They changed it. Literally, they changed the sod to I thought it was turf, but it's like a Bermuda, that thick, fat grass that you see like down in Florida. They changed it to the Bermuda grass and it held up, but it's obviously changed the kicking, and obviously he's got a new holder.
He was kicking in a monsoon too.
Yeah, but it's Cairo. It's Cairo. It's Cairo. I still expected him to hit it, but I give
him a pass.
I give him a pass because there's a lot of factors there, but I expect him to. I don't expect to see him miss again
everyone.
This year.
Hey, we always say everyone's playing in the same weather in the game, so
right. Well, that's why we
figure it out. But I'll give him a pass for week 1, but I want to see 25 in a row again. I want to see that.
We all want to see that.
If we're going to win in Lambeau, he's got to hit his field goals and his extra points,
right?
Because that's a tough place to win.
Yeah.
But I think we could do it. Man, I'm looking forward to this week. I think, so much good has happened with our team. you know, honestly, and you look back, a lot of our starters stuck. You know, we still have Quinn, we still have Roquan, we still have Johnson, we still have Eddie, we still have Borum and Jenkins, even, you know, Musty's still
Whitehair.
there, Mooney's still there, Komet's still there, Fields is still there, and Demo. So we still got a lot of our starters, but I think we're a lot better team. You know, there's the guys that are standing next to them have a claim that they're every bit as good as they are.
And you know what? I think in sports in general that the youth that you bring in. I mean, granted, not everybody has the same talent level, but there's just something about the youth, the young players that are just being drafted. They want to make a name for themselves. They haven't gotten to get those big contracts yet. You get what I'm saying? So they're trying to make a name for themselves and all that. And I think, to be quite frank, I feel like a lot of times that's better for the culture of the team than having just the big names, because you can have big names. These people, they're going to get paid for who they are and what they've done in the past. And their attitude might not always be what the team needs or what can motivate the team. But I feel like when you have a lot of young guys trying to make a name for themselves, you have a couple of veterans maybe to lead the way who do have the right attitude. I think that pulls the best out of those young guys, because at the end of the day, they all trying to prove themselves. You get what I'm saying? So we got so when it's time to put those guys in there, it's like you can get the most out of them. And if you see that they just don't have what it takes, okay. But you get the team, the atmosphere in the locker room, you get the team all on board, that everybody's out here trying to play hard. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing that I'm most excited about, that our team is young and we drafted this way. That's what I'm most excited about. Catch some of these teams off guard with this new young talent. Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. I think it comes with the young guys. I heard some a conversation about that, and about when you have a young team and there's a lot to teach, you're running from drill to drill because you got to get all this stuff in, and it's just a different attitude. You know, I get it when you're the veteran that has earned the right to do what you're doing. I get that. I remember Dion used to have a Mercedes-Benz golf cart that he drove around practice in. You know, so with big giant chrome Mercedes rims on a golf cart and all that.
Prime was something else.
Prime was something else, but like you said, you know, you're I don't quote Jesse Jackson very often, but I heard him speak at a graduation one time, and he said, you never earn the right not to do your best. You can never earn the right not to do your best. And I think that's the attitude the Bears are coming with. Hey, I don't care if I don't care if you're Robert Quinn.
Right.
And you've been here forever. Whoever you are, Roquan, you do your best.
Right.
Yep.
You know,
and that's I love that they brought back the loaf system. That's huge for our guys. Like Lovey would always get like dudes running through brick walls for him. And why is that? Because when you don't run through a brick wall, people notice. They're like, hey, that brick wall's still standing there. What you doing there, buddy? You need to hit that a little harder. And Brian Urlacher was like, you dang right. And he would be straight through that mark the next time. So it's good to see these guys playing hard every play. There's a ton of film that we got to break down and go over that is just proof of that. It's just guys attacking downhill, flying to the ball on defense, offensive players running to the whistle, not giving up on deep passing plays. Allen Robinson. So you know, there's all kinds of stuff that you could see that hits principle. You know, the hustle, the intensity, and then we saw the takeaways, the peanut punch, the interception. And then what you guys were talking about earlier, being disciplined, not giving them back in penalties, that's the smarts. So we've seen all four elements of the hits principle play out in real time. So I just want to see it, you know, week to week.
And you got to give credit to our quarterback, Fields, Mooney, Komet, who didn't take an off season. I mean, they worked. All we heard all year was they're working out here, they're working out there. These guys are working out here. You know, and even Roquan. When Roquan was sitting in, he was sitting in on every meeting. You know, he had a contract dispute, but he didn't leave the building. He got the information, knew what he was doing, knew what his job was. So when our dear San Francisco quarterback thought he was going to get away,
he was not.
He got face planted into Soldier Field. He got well acquainted with the new turf at Soldier Field.
and he stopped trying to run through people by the end of the game. He was like, this ain't working.
Not a career. That's a career limiting move.
Yeah.
Running a Roquan straight on is a career limiting move.
Right.
He's learning it.
Well, I'm excited. I think we've all got Bears over Packers next week. I'm going to say I'm going to go Bears by 7.
Yep. I'm with you. 7. Between 7 and 10. I'm right there. You know what? I'm excited, man. This is the time. Of course, the Packers, we always want to beat the Packers. We live to whoop the Packers. But you know what? I think it's time. It's our time to be the dominant team over them. They've had their span of torturing us. I think it's over with. I think now we have these guys that are going to come in and be committed, and that's all it takes, man. That's all it takes. You get guys that want to go out there. At the end of the day, I'm a man, you're a man, and we got to go head to head. You have to make your plays. I got to make my plays, and we're going to see what happens. I think we have the guys they won't accept losing in that way. You get what I'm saying? We have guys that are really going to go out there with every intention of winning. The game's not over till it's over, and they play hard. And I don't think they can beat us in that way. I think that the Packers just have those cheese heads, and I think for some reason they think that that's supposed to help them against us.
You know what? And I have to say it starts to me, and this is an assumption, it starts to me with the McCaskies this time. They take a lot of flack and sometimes deserving of it. But I think this time we had a situation where a guy came into Soldier Field and did a discount double check and said he owned the Bears franchise. And I think the McCaskies, I think that's part of what got both Pace and Nagy fired. Because if I own the team and guy walks in and treats my team with this much respect and you can't do anything about it, I'm going looking for the next guy. I'm like, you're not my guy. You know, you took that laying down. You know, I was like, this is a fighting sport.
I don't know, and I agree. I don't know if that was the mindset, but I promise you, I hope it was. I hope that's how they feel, because that's how you should be. It's sports. It's football. Right? That's how it should be. Absolutely. We watch the game. We don't tolerate that. You get what I'm saying? It's like, no, this is Chicago. This is our team. This is our home. So absolutely. I don't know if you read that anywhere. If that's a quoted. I don't know if they said that.
I don't know. I'm not saying I heard
that's their attitude.
It felt like it to me. I don't know if it's true, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, as a boss, you can't let that go.
No.
You're right.
No. That mess don't slide, man. That mess definitely don't slide on 79th. I know it don't slide on 87. No, and it does not slide at Soldier Field.
No,
hey, so we went into this game one game ahead of the Green Bay Packers in the all-time franchise wins list. We are number 1 in the entire NFL all-time wins. Right now, we're up 2 games, right? However, I think the media narrative is that Green Bay is going to be angry. They're going to come back. This is a revenge game. And they're going to try to beat up on the Bears. They're going to sit there and think they can take advantage. They got a very strong defense. And they don't, we don't have a Justin Jefferson to just pop open and run for a touchdown. But what I think the media is not anticipating, what they're not taking into account, is that the Packers are going to be very one-dimensional, more one-dimensional than they've ever been. They need their running game now, because I think man for man, our secondary destroys their receivers, their tight ends, their wideouts. They're going to be throwing passes to Aaron Jones out the backfield all game.
Yeah. And Roquan will have that covered.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think Aaron Rodgers himself was disappointed that Roquan didn't leave Chicago. I think he said that something like this.
I think he said, "I wish he came to Green Bay."
I think he wishes he was anywhere but about to show up next week.
But he literally, I'm pretty sure I saw a quote that said he wished that that Roquan came to Green Bay.
I wouldn't be.
Man, if I was on a different team than the Chicago Bears, I'd wish Roquan was on my team too. There's not really anywhere that he could go that he wouldn't immediately be the starter. So, you know, that's just the kind of player he is and the impact he makes week to week. So, you know, I just want to see him make that. But you guys, you're very optimistic. Bears by 7. I don't know if we're gonna blow them out. I don't know if we're gonna be up that much. My official stance is Bears by 3. But I think the media's stance is probably going to be like -7, something like that. So if you want to play some bets, this might be a decent one to put some money on, you know, because they're really selling this underdog stick.
They really, really, really believe that we are gonna lose. I think pretty much we let's call it. Let's close out the conversation. Because it's pretty much we said what we had to say.
We didn't talk about Jay Fields. We didn't talk about Jay Fields once.
Yeah, that's not true. We talked about
kind of like briefly mentioned it, but watching him elevate the team, watching him to put the team on his back, juke people out of their shoes, and run off for first downs when it was third, break out of those incredible tight, guaranteed sack situations and throw touchdowns. Gripping the ball in the rain, you could see he was struggling with accuracy, just trying to throw that ball in that downpour. Like, you know, you're talking
not when he hit EQ.
You're well, yeah. I think that's what I mean, man. He was adaptable. He was tough. He was mentally strong. Made sure that he didn't give in to any of the pressure that they were putting in his face, and he took advantage of what they tried to do to him in a very calm, composed, and professional way. So I think Jay Fields deserves a lot of props, and that boy is the truth, man. That boy is the truth.
I agree. And you know what? Of course, they put us down in the media. They expect us to lose. And all I was gonna say is, last season was abysmal. I don't think I wasn't satisfied with last season. Not even though I didn't have extremely high expectations last season. It was not acceptable in any kind of way. And I think what it is that the media, when they're just looking at the names that they see. Our last season was bad. We've lost Khalil Mack. You know, we don't have these people that were supposed to be our name, our franchise guys, the biggest names we had. But like we were just saying, at the end of the day, it's football. If your team can gel and you can play well together, and you have people that are going to play hard, to me, that's way more important than having one guy who's just extremely good by himself. And I think that's what the media doesn't account for. They know that even when fans are watching, fans are going to know the big names most of the time. When you have your real football connoisseurs, they'll know about the college players and who's coming out. But I think for the most part, man, they're just looking at it like, hey, they lost their biggest name. Last season was bad. It's going to only get worse. When you all were speaking on Poles and Eberflus, I think these guys are really in there, dedicated. I think the guys we have coming in, new to the team, I think they're dedicated, and I think it's just clicking for us. So I know you're saying 3 points with the Packers, but I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised, man, because at the end of the day, it's all about what you're going to put out on the field on a Sunday. And I like what our guys are doing right now. I don't think that the Packers are, like you said, until they're able to see some more film on us and more tape, I don't think they're ready for us right now. So I think we can still potentially catch them off guard, and I think we will win by about 7 to 10 points. That's my prediction. I'm gonna make my bets on the game.
Well, I hope you're right.
I absolutely think you're right. If you don't want to make any internal bets, I'm going 7 to 10. I'll take your bet on 3.
I'm on board.
I think that for sure the Packers aren't ready. I mean, they weren't ready for the Vikings.
Right.
They didn't play a competitive game against the Vikings, and I have yet to prove that the Vikings are better than the 49ers or offer a more difficult challenge. When we looked at, I kind of looked past Seattle as a proving ground, but Geno Smith and those guys took it to Russell Wilson, and you know what they said, oh, the Broncos are ready for the Super Bowl. Broncos weren't ready for the Seahawks. And Geno Smith was still trying to win the starting job as quarterback as we beat him up. He was playing his heart out. You know, so no, you know, they're not ready for us. They're going to be surprised in a bad way, and they're not as disciplined as we are right now. And I think when you have man for man teams are about even. And when you got two teams that are about even, and one team is hungry and disciplined, and the other's a little fat and undisciplined,
right?
That's game. That's game.
Down.
It might be any given Sunday. Any given Sunday.
Absolutely.
This given Sunday.
Hopefully so.
And this weekend we got Steeman, Willie Beeman, and his invisible juice at quarterback for us.
Basically, man. Basically.
All right. Well, I'm Uncle.
And I'm Nephew.
I'm Son.
And we're
talking Bears.